The ongoing drama involving Microsoft and them buying Activision Blizzard and all the regulators they have to deal with in order to get it done. There have already been reports that Jim Ryan of PlayStation has gone up to regulators in the EU, talking about how damaging it would be if Microsoft were to buy Activision Blizzard. Google also got involved, which I thought was kind of funny, but okay, Google got involved as well. And it seems as if Xbox has also countered with what they're saying by basically claiming that Nintendo and Sony will remain the biggest companies in video games well after they own Activision Blizzard and get Call of Duty. I read this somewhere, and then I started seeing on Twitter so many Sony lovers who are like, "Oh wow, Xbox finally admitted it. How do you feel, Xbox?" I'm like, are you that opaque that you're not realizing what's happening right now? But yeah, Zero, what did you think of Xbox or Microsoft saying, "Hey, we're number 3, and that's going to remain that way. So what's the big deal?"
Yeah, it just seems kind of like a wild claim considering just how big of a lineage that Bethesda has, and then how big of a legacy Activision Blizzard has. For me, it was just kind of hard to wrap my head around the thought of just even after those purchases, Microsoft would claim that they would still be significantly smaller than both Sony and Nintendo. Just there's a bit of, I guess you could call it disbelief from me on this, but I just can't fathom it, mostly because of the fact that Bethesda has a huge legacy of stuff, and so does Activision Blizzard. So I was just kind of flabbergasted when I saw this news. I was just like, really? You guys will still be smaller than Nintendo and Sony? I don't know how that computes, because just Activision Blizzard and Bethesda are just absolutely huge companies with just long lineages of video games. There's no way that you could call yourself small, even with the just long legacy that those companies have had in video gaming history.
Yeah. I find these tactics so fucking hilarious to a certain extent. That the brinksmanship they're doing here by downplaying Microsoft, by downplaying their success, and Microsoft, and then Sony on the other hand, like overinflating it to a certain extent, saying, "Oh my God, they could own everything." Which is really not the case. And the fact that people are not seeing this and still claiming and still turning this into a console war thing is just unbearably stupid to watch. There's reasons why Microsoft is downplaying the importance of buying Activision Blizzard. They're not saying that, we suck and we need this. They're kind of saying that, but they're saying it so it doesn't seem like as big of a deal when they buy Activision Blizzard and when they own the properties and everything. So I'm just the fact that this gets into console war fodder is just absolutely stupidly ridiculous. Zero, what do you think?
Yeah, people just seeing this as some sort of console war thing. It's just you're missing the bigger legal implications on why this is happening. Yeah. And it's like you said, just Microsoft would rather the deal just slip by quietly, no one makes any fuss, and then the deal happens, and then they can go, look, we've got the biggest catalog of games. PlayStation and Nintendo don't have that, do they? So, and that's really where what it comes down to. Just Microsoft doesn't want any legal hitches on this. Yeah. Activision Blizzard, they want to get their money out of this deal because they're going to get a cash infusion, and the execs are ready to jump out jump out the plane with their golden parachutes, and that's all this is. Anyone who's seeing this for just the console wars and everything, they're just missing the big picture so hard. And the bigger picture is simply just this is all about money. This is all about just making the deal happen so that everyone gets paid. And once everyone gets paid, there's no take backsies.
Let me ask you a question. Do you really think that Microsoft can continue the Xbox brand in 10 years? Or are they looking to turn the Xbox brand into a service?
Personally believe that Microsoft is playing the long game, and they're looking to turn the Xbox brand into a service. And really, the biggest piece of that equation we see currently right now, which is just the fact that you have Xbox Game Pass. And Game Pass is the one thing that just makes gaming just easy peasy. You don't have to worry about owning the game. You can just download it to your console right now. But with them doing the just long-term beta for the Xbox xCloud stuff, just that seems to be the end game. Just, hey, we want to do something like Stadia, but make it just a better value so that, people don't kind of see it as, oh my god, my inventory could disappear overnight. Yikes, that's a bit of a scary thing. And instead, to build out a service that has the backing of Microsoft as a company and can reassure people, hey, we're going to be around probably forever, and you don't really have to worry about your digital games because you can play them on your PC, you can play them on your TV with the Xbox app, you can play it on your phone with the Xbox app, and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's really the end game direction for Microsoft, to step away from the hardware game in the distant future and basically say, hey, you don't need to buy an expensive box to play our games. You just need to, be part of the Microsoft ecosystem.
Yeah. Xbox at this point, I don't think it's going to be a brand anymore. Like, it will be Game Pass in, I would say 10 years. And that's what really this is. This is basically where... And this is why Microsoft is really downplaying Xbox's importance. Because they're not going to want to have a console in 10 years. They just want to have the service. And if you have the service and you have all these games, people are going to buy the service, and that's it. I can foresee a time where if this is successful, maybe Sony will have a console, but they would have to have Game Pass on it, because people will want to play those games on their console. I think that's the basic move that Microsoft is going here. How many rumors were there that Nintendo was going to have Xbox Game Pass on there, and how it made sense? I think that is going to be their future business decisions on there. And let's also get it straight here too. Sony does this exclusivity shit all the time. They do it with their games as well as with features and with day one stuff in a lot of their games and exclusivity. They also, and has been shown as well, they also force people when they develop games for their system to not put it on Xbox as a requirement. So it's not like Sony doesn't do this stuff. And on top of that, if we're talking about, Call of Duty is so important, and it's a barometer of what the overall gaming business is, and if that remains exclusive to Xbox, they essentially win. That's not true. Fortnite is the big thing now on gaming. If Fortnite was something that was exclusive to Xbox, then you would have a point. But Call of Duty ain't that anymore. And if you really are worried about the fact that Call of Duty might be exclusive to Microsoft, bring back Resistance. Or, I don't know, go to EA, give them cash and go, hey, make Battlefield exclusive to PlayStation. Or give us Medal of Honor. Do a Medal of Honor for us, exclusively for PlayStation. Just compete. Do the same thing at this point. But going to the regulators and doing this stuff is not. I don't think one, it's not going to work, and two, in the end, it's going to make you guys look desperate. Because if you lose, and you're going to lose, if you lose, the perception is going to be that Sony has one foot out the door. They're going to go down. It's only a matter of time. And now Jim Ryan has now essentially put up this veneer that basically if Microsoft gets Call of Duty, we're finished. Which I don't believe that to be the case. But now but with how he's acting, it sure damn seems like he thinks that. What do you think?
It could, I mean, on one hand, it could be a play to say, woe is us. Just, if we don't have the marketing powerhouse that is Call of Duty, just, PlayStation is going to collapse on its own weight. And with that angle, I just don't see it because, so far of the two 9th gen consoles, PlayStation has had a lot of award-winning games, and that's me saying it as somebody who quite loves his Xbox Series X and has been playing on that more than his PS5. So, to kind of over-exaggerate the importance of Call of Duty, in my mind, it's a bit overdramatic, but at the same time, with playing devil's advocate on the Microsoft side, I know Phil Spencer made that PR statement, which was kind of boilerplate in general, but saying, oh yeah, well, we're going to abide by our contractual duties to make sure that Call of Duty is going to be available to play on PlayStation as well. But, I mean, again, that's kind of a boilerplate statement. They're not going to immediately say something inflammatory like, nope, the minute we've got control of Call of Duty, fuck PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, and this is all gamesmanship in the end. Like, they are all putting up a front and not saying exactly what the intentions are of each company. Microsoft could very well decide, let's not make this exclusive at all. Let's put it on other consoles and whatever. Like that, they may just decide that's fine. That's exactly what we're going to do, and fine, whatever. But even if they did make it exclusive to Xbox, okay, then compete. Like just do other business. Like, okay, they have the first-person shooter market. Okay, then compete in other ways. Like, you would now have Destiny 2. Hello. I mean, if they're really going to do that, then just lock Destiny 2 away. Like, you say, okay, then Destiny 2 doesn't go on Xbox. Done. Compete. That's all you gotta do at this point. And to me, like I said, this makes Sony look very, very weak. And I don't even think that's the case. I think it's just gamesmanship at this point, where they're just saying, just for the hell of it, because it will hurt Microsoft in the end. Let's just do it. If they would have just let it go by and just competed, I think they would have looked a lot better. But now, at this point, like, they're making it sound like I think this will eventually trickle down to investors when this goes through, that they're going to be in some trouble. And what are you going to do then? What is Jim Ryan going to do then when the stock dips? When Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard, and then Sony is left in the bag of, well, you've been saying for months that this could be disastrous for the gaming industry, then we're going to start pulling our money out. Then what do you do? Like, this just... Man, like, I think this is overblown to a certain extent. Like, that's just my opinion on this. I think that the molding over this is overblown. Because you can easily... not easily, but you do have a franchise you can use that can compete with that game. And you could also just go to Battlefield and say, hey, make it exclusive to us. Here's some money. And I bet you EA will be like, okay, sure. Okay. So I don't get it. I just don't get the tactics involved with either company in this. It's just getting more and more ridiculous as the days go on.
I'll be curious to see how this all shakes out, especially with just now Sony just jumping into the fray and kind of going, "Oh, poor PlayStation, poor us. Please think of the PlayStation."
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.